second Christmas now in the tiny house here in the Derbyshire Dales, and I thought it's only appropriate to celebrate Christmas Eve, and enough left over for breakfast, with a bottle of fizz. I have an overdeveloped sense of deferred gratification, it turns out, because this bottle of fizz was a gift to me for my birthday in June, and it's been in the fridge chilling and waiting for me ever since, next to the milk. And now's the time. Twist the bottle, not the cork. I'm sure you know that. See if it works. Bow! Here we go. Oh dear. I last did a video with fizz a couple of years ago in a cottage in Bakewell, where I was shucking my first oyster and nearly cut my fingers off. No such risk this time. Cheers. Happy Christmas to you and yours. But I, in the technologically advanced tiny house with my toaster, pop-up toaster, I have managed to burn my bagel. So I'm going to chuck that away now. Yes, I am. And I do have a replacement fresh one with the salmon. So happy Christmas to one and all. Peace on earth, goodwill to all. Well, I've put my my new Christmas cardigan on. Hope you appreciate that. And you might be wondering what the t-shirt is all about. Johnny Bakes. Well, that's just to prove that I am indeed a professional pot washer, or have been in my past, on Lanzarote in the wonderful bakery and cafe Johnny Bakes. Let them eat cake is their slogan, and I can't fault that. I have Judy's most excellent Christmas cake in eating distance, and Wendy's delicious homemade mince pies. So I am well catered for, and I am truly grateful. And I've been thinking about not so much a Christmas message, but a sort of reflection to self on I love the Christmas rituals, and I love the Christmas story. I've got my own tableau. It's not the baby Jesus in the manger. It's Father Christmas in his gear and sack, delivering presents to the boys and girls. I'm reappraising my beliefs around Christmas specifically, but my Christian faith in general, in that I love the ritual and the trappings, you might say. I get festive very early, and I love it. And one of the reasons I love it is that mostly and generally, as soon as the Christmas trees and lights go up around the place, people seem to become kinder. I don't know if you would endorse that. And despite goings on in the world, which causes distress, there's a lot to be thankful for in the genuine kindness of people, and not just those who bake you cakes. Everybody seems to be looking out for others, not just number one. So I'm all for the Christmas celebrations, and I'm all for the Christian myth, but I'm not all for the Christian belief. And my logic, which might be in a way inappropriate, it sort of is logic the antithesis of belief? Maybe I am pulling the bricks out of my own Jenga tower of Christian belief here, but here goes. It seems to me that by definition, the way it's used, particularly in religious terms, belief is something that you don't know for sure. I suppose that's not a bad definition, actually. Belief, things you're not so sure about, but take somebody else's word for it. Well, I've sort of given that up for Christmas, in that I don't feel I need to believe in those things for it to be valid or authentic for me. If anybody bothered to ask me in the past, particularly Christians, evangelical Christians, who were interrogating me after I chose to leave the evangelical church some 15 or 20 years ago now, they see if they had a cattle prod, it would be less painful or pointed. So Phil, are you still a Christian? Says the Master Inquisitor in Chief. Well, and I would say, and I have written this down actually in previous writings, I consider myself to be a post-evangelical, existential, panentheistic, non-dual, mystic Christian. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, those who need to know. But actually, just recently, it's got even simpler, and you'll be the first to hear. I don't believe in belief. Now that might sound just a play on words, but I don't need to know what you believe, because there's nothing I can do about it. And if I said I believe in this or I believe in that, what good is that to you? The only thing that really carries any weight, it seems to me, is your experience. If I say understanding, I don't mean intellectual understanding. I mean heart understanding of how it is for you. How does the divine rest in your heart, your soul, if we have a soul? Or is soul something you have to believe in? Well, let's call it the undeniable essence of who you are, or what I like to use in my writing on my book on consciousness, your ground of being, the incontrovertible, the undisputable who or what you are. And that, for me anyway, it's not a preach coming up. It's an entirely a personal disposition. I no longer need to believe in, certainly not in what anybody else tells me, because frankly, if I had have been exposed to any other religious or philosophical or cultural meme, I could easily have adopted and believed that. So that doesn't wash any longer. So having a belief seems to me to be entirely one of cultural coincidence, you might say. Or, of course, could be entirely a divine intent if you happen to grow up Muslim or Buddhist or Jewish or Catholic. It's more of a cultural thing. And I do not decry this at all. It's entirely valid. But for my own self, I've come to a position where I would no longer say I am a Christian. I would just drop the little word because there are so many connotations with being a Christian. Because when you say, are you a Christian, it's a bundle of things that you are, if I can put it politely, projecting onto me or anybody. What it means to be a Christian is an entirely different thing to me now to when I was a card-carrying, praise the Lord member of the evangelicals, which is absolutely fine. I'm not pulling the rug on that or my experience of that. But just as Paul says, when I was a child, I drank milk, and when I grew up, well, you might progress to shredded wheat, and then you can't eat 3 shredded wheat, as I said to the pastor of our evangelical church when I left. You might want to get onto meatier things. Whatever that might be in your diet. And for me, that led me to the what I could easily call the mystical path or the non-dual path now. But I don't want to get into head stuff or indeed belief stuff, but just experiential stuff, what it is like. See, part of the study of consciousness is it's defined by well-paid philosophers like David Chalmers. Consciousness is defined as what it is like to be something. Most famously, according to Thomas Nagel, what it is like to be a bat. Well, I can assure you, dear friends, I know for sure I am not a bat. I could try and imagine what it's like to be an echolocating blind bat finding my way in a dark cave, but I'm not. I know I'm not a bat. I know I am a Phil. Of course, the question is, what is a Phil? What is a you? One of the most formative parts of my spiritual journey was I accidentally parachuted into the epicenter of what I now know is called Advaita or non-duality, literally into the epicenter of the Ramana Maharshi ashram in India, where I stayed for about 2 months, and I sat for 5 weeks every day with lovely guy Muji, who also had a Christian upbringing and faith, and sort of evolved into. I'm not a big fan of the word non-dual. It's sort of it's sort of a paradoxical word in that it's not in saying it's not something else. Well, I wish there was a more positive way of putting it than non-dual. Let's give it a shot, shall we? Unity consciousness, or UC. So, Phil, what are you? I'm a UC. You see? Maybe it'll catch on. But the defining difference between my faith of a belief in the Christian ways that I deliberately accepted in my earlier years were just that. I didn't, and they were real. I had a real faith, a real experience. I'm not casting that off. I suppose I'm just adding. Am I adding anything or taking something away? I think I'm taking something away, actually. What I call chewing somebody else's cud. I'm skimming the cud, somebody else's cud off my spiritual yogurt. There we are. That's what I'm doing. Simplifying it back to its, let's say, its experiential ground of being, getting down to the milk. Oh dear, perhaps that's a bit an analogy too far. But at this Christmas time, I'm coming out of the manger, so to speak, and pinning my beliefs or lack of belief in belief on the stable door. Perhaps after the Christian horse has bolted, but it seems to me we all have to if I say own our truth, that sounds extremely relativistic, doesn't it? Because of course your truth could be you could be a serial killer and think that that was all right. So it's not that it can be completely out of context, can it? But I think you know what I'm getting at. You own your own spiritual truth, whatever tradition you are from or in or aspiring to. Go with that. But for me, it's no longer belief in a dogma. It's a daily experience of the divine, the unity consciousness, and gradually, bit by bit, and certainly on the streets and in the park of Matlock town this morning, I could see that unity and ground of being in everyone I had the good fortune to encounter and chat with, including Steve the Postie in Costa Coffee, who has faithfully delivered the Christmas mail and every day of the year except for 6 weeks holidays, he told me, in all weathers on the Tansley circuit just outside Matlock. So on this Christmas Eve, I'm going to wish you all a happy and peaceful Christmas, but especially Steve the Postie. Cheers. Well, I shall leave you with something much more interesting than my murmurings on belief. Here's a murmuration of birds I filmed last weekend on retreat in the Lake District in Cumbria, this overlooking Morecambe Bay. Enjoy.